Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here at the Travel Leaders Networks Conference in Denver, just outside Denver. I'm here with a familiar face because every year we have this to interview, and actually this is less than a year because the last conference that Travel Leaders had was in Orlando in October. And here we are in Denver, and I'm here with Roger Block, who is the president of Travel Leaders Network. We're going to talk to Roger about what's going on with the network today, and you'll find out about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Roger, first of all, it's great to see you again. We see each other a lot, but it's always fun to come together. And this time it's less than a year, right?
Right. And thank you for being here, James. It's I know you flew in from Australia to be with us, so thank you for that.
I did. I think I'm here. I'm not quite sure.
Well, no, you're here physically, mentally. Well,
we'll see. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about that. We've had this is towards the end of the conference. We got one more day left. Where is Travel Leaders Network today? Approximately how many agencies do you have?
You know, it depends how you count. Don't you like that as a straight answer? No, over the last 2 years with the coronavirus, a number of our members who used to be brick and mortar, they went home, and now they're operating virtually. But we have over 4,000 in the U.S. and close to 700 in Canada, members with unique identification numbers, which is kind of the only way we can count. So, you know, in the old days, you could count brick and mortar.
Or ARC numbers, all that?
Yes. Well, the world has changed.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about ARC numbers anymore because everybody's running them all through one agency. Usually it's one of yours. But
right. Well, no.
Or one of your sister agencies.
Yes, but, you know, the host business has really expanded for us. They're growing like crazy. One of the things we want to talk about today is the alliances we've formed, and
we're definitely going to talk about that.
Yes, we will. But no, it's you know, people have had to look at the business and how do you react and how do you modify and how do you change to where you can survive. The number of actual owners that went out of business, honestly, and I'm thankful for this, was much smaller than we were predicting when, you know, everything shut down. It's
in part because that's due in part to your programs that you had. Obviously, the government came in and stepped in with and asked us lobbying.
Yes, I mean, between the PPP program and the employee payroll program, I mean, the tax program, it's just you can't thank ASTA enough. But really, it saved our industry, no doubt about it. If it weren't for that, I would have predicted 60% of.
Well, ASTA itself was talking 70% would be out of business, and that has not happened, thank goodness. And now we're actually on the way. I think this is a week before the ASTA Legislative Day. I'm sure you're going to be down there too, but we actually don't have too many issues to discuss. There's a couple.
The big one really was taken care of last week when the government announced testing wouldn't be required, and it's really, we believe, going to be a huge boom to people because I've talked to a lot of friends who said, no, I'm not going to travel internationally because I don't want to take the risk of being stuck.
And now they won't be stuck, and now they're going to travel if they can find space because things are booking up.
That's another problem. I mean, but that's a great problem to have. I mean, let's face it, for both the suppliers and the advisors, the product is not being discounted. It is limited, which means you have an impending event when you're going to close a sale that truthfully you can tell a client, you'd better book now because it will be gone. And the prices will probably be higher.
And that's for this year and next year. So let's talk about, but you have benefited more recently. You've actually gotten a lot more agencies and advisors into your network just in the last few months, right?
Yes. I mean, you know, in the last 6 months, we've probably added about 140 agencies. And, you know, some of them are very large. It's incredible to see the talent that's joining our network, and it's really, I think, due to the total breadth of the product offering we have. We've had a number of people who have joined us from other consortiums, all consortia, and they go, you know, if we would have known that you had these type of marketing programs or technology or training or support systems, we would have been over here sooner. And so it's quite eye-opening for a lot of people. I mean, you think you know what the competitors offer, but it's amazing how little you really know.
And then one of the other things is your parent company, Internova Travel Group, which owns TLN and also Global Travel Collection and other companies as well. How important have they been to both getting TLN to survive through this period and also introducing new programs across the company that are going to help your advisors?
Oh, Internova has been absolutely critical for our survival. Having someone who is fully committed to the future of the retail travel distribution system, willing to invest even in these tough times. I mean, yes, we all had to make tough choices. Yes, we did the things we had to do to survive because nobody knew what the future was going to be. But we all recognized that whether it was going to be a year, 2 years, or whatever, travel is going to come back.
Right.
And it is roaring back, as we all know. But they continue to invest in a lot of central programs, technology being one. I mean, we all know it's expensive to develop technology, and one of the things we're working on is a common booking platform.
Yeah, that was announced, although you're not ready yet, but it's going to cover air, hotel, car, at least this go-round, and hopefully done by the end of the year, and then you're going to look at cruise and tour and things like that.
Because given the size of Internova, we offer air deals to our members, both international, domestic, where they can make a substantial amount of money. And where this really comes into play is vast majority of our members are not ARC appointed. So, they're buying the air from the supplier, just like most leisure agencies do. So they book the air with the cruise line or the tour operator. But if you're thinking about you're selling someone a suite on a Med cruise or a Baltic cruise or let's say a cruise around Australia. So you're going to sell someone a very high expensive cruise and then you're going to put them in coach for 12 hours. You think when they land...
That doesn't work. Let me tell you, speaking from experience, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. So all of a sudden you're selling through the cruise line today maybe a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 airline ticket. And what are you getting paid? With us, when you book it through our common platform, and it's up in, we have a version today, but the new one we're looking at is the bells and whistles on it. It's just amazing. But we're talking, in many cases, you can make more off the air commissions than you do off the cruise line commission.
That is absolutely true. In fact, there's years, I always tell people there's a story I did years ago for another publication called Make Money Selling Air. This was 10 years after the commission cuts. And you were actually the big source on that one because you said, why are you leaving money on the table?
Oh, and people do because, there's been a lot of people who said, never sell air. You can't make any money selling air.
Some still do it.
Well, yeah, and a lot of smaller agencies do not have override programs. And again, now we talk about Internova. Due to our size, due to our negotiating power, we're able to offer our members an ability to make some serious money. And let's face it, when you're dealing with a transaction, yes, there's the commission on the initial transaction, but we're all looking for how can you increase that profitability of the transaction. And most agencies and advisors leave that air component out of the picture. And it's a big mistake.
It's a huge mistake, and this is something that we got to keep emphasizing. I mean, I wrote that story almost 7-8 years ago, and you still got to remind them that, yes, you can make money selling air, and you should. Don't leave it on the table.
No, absolutely correct. And we have relationships with, I was going to say all, but all of the majors, and it's over 100 airlines. On a global basis.
You have two major airlines, U.S. airlines here, basically, promoting their products to your members. They have programs, and you have had that for several years.
Absolutely. We've had long relationships with the domestic carriers and many international carriers. But the two you're talking to, they're two of the largest carriers in the United States.
Yeah, Delta and United, we'll say.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing to hide there, and so
that's one of the things I ever saw. Now, actually, to be honest with you, we're starting to get airlines showing up at ASTA, which is the last few years it's happening.
Yes, I mean, and so my one message to all of you is if you've never really looked at air and the opportunity because you're afraid of it or because you didn't think there was money in it, you need to take a second look. I mean, we're all in this business to make money. Yes, we need to take care of the client and all the other things, but at the end of the day, each of our businesses have to be profitable. And if you can increase the profitability, and this is one way to really do it, you need to take a look at AIR again.
Absolutely. Now, I want to turn to another thing that you talked about. We were at the press conference yesterday. You've done made a lot of changes and improvements to your training, and also make sure your training applies to different types of travel advisors and their different needs. Tell us a little bit about, because it was a really huge announcements, and you're really changing things that are training that's shorter, easier to take, more specialized. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, over the last 2 years, the coronavirus has really said, you got to relook at everything you're doing. Mm-hmm. How do we make it more effective for all of our advisors, all of our owners? So first thing is we've put the training programs in different levels. Mm-hmm. So we have training programs for new agents to the business, new advisors. We have training programs for experienced advisors. We have programs for managers. We have programs for owners. Mm-hmm. And as James just mentioned, we've also shortened the programs. Mm-hmm. So we're doing many of them in 15-minute tranches because, let's face it, we've all sat through Zoom meetings, yes. Zoom to death, but Zoom is so effective if it can be put in tranches. So we've redone most of our training programs, and we have over 300 titles in our online version. One of the things we're going to be announcing tomorrow is that one of the issues that, as we talk to our advisors, as we talk to our advisory boards, is many of them can't find experienced staff.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That's a huge issue as we emerge from COVID, is that people seem to have disappeared, right?
Yes. So they're hiring new people, but they don't have the time to train new people. They also don't have the curriculums in place. So we have developed a total curriculum which talks about how to qualify a customer, courtesies of customers, cultural differences of dealing with customers, closing the sale, how to prospect for customers, and on and on and on. Is it the total complete, as I mentioned yesterday to you, the William Boyd, for those of you who've been around a long time, or several 100-hour course? No, but it is an extensive course. Right. And then you, the owner, can augment that training to your own practices, policies, etc. It'll give you a great place to have, whether it's a new IC or whether it's a new employee that you feel can really succeed in this business, learn about the business, learn about how to book with our suppliers, the process of a booking. Sure. So it's really covering all the fundamentals and basics. But then, as you said, James, we have training programs for all levels of advisors. And then we also have spent a lot of time and money developing and refining our specialty programs.
Yeah, you have several, six
programs. And the newest is Active and Adventure, which is a huge and growing market. Luxury, as we all know, is really expanding. So we have a luxury specialist program. We have a general leisure program. So if you're a newbie, that's one where you would start. We have one on corporate travel. We have one on honeymoons and destination weddings, which anybody involved in that, yes, it's a huge profit, but it's complex. Mm-hmm. And so we really are trying to create all levels of education. Now, these specialist programs, most people, it takes them a year and a half to get through it. It is not just, 2 hours and you're done.
Kind of like the old CTC,
Yes, we require you to travel. So let's say it's a destination wedding. We require that you go down to, whether it's Mexico or a cruise ship, wherever, and meet with the wedding planners down there. Actually observe a wedding down wherever you're going. Mm-hmm. And so you should be totally experienced and feel pretty knowledgeable as to all the pieces that you have to take care of, from the minister to the receptions to the rehearsal dinners to the flowers to the this, that, and the other. It's all laid out.
No, that's perfect, and it is so important these days. The other thing I wanted you to talk briefly about, if you could, and it's not your area, but Steve McGilvery is not here. He is your Chief Marketing Officer, and a lot of time was spent on marketing, a huge session on marketing, specifically looking at what you call Agent Profiler, which are the profiles you have on travelleaders.com that connect travel advisors to consumers, and which are searchable by Google. And you've been augmenting that and improving that whole thing, right?
Well, first of all, let's face it, if you are a customer or a client and you're thinking about going to Africa, India, Australia, it doesn't matter. What you're really looking for is someone with expertise, knowledge, been there. And what Agent Profiler is a biography of each of our advisors, where they've been, where they're excited about, what their passion is. And so when someone is Googling, I'd like to speak to a travel expert for safaris in Africa. Right. Google will rank our advisors. And what we've done with Agent Profiler is we've added reviews, customer reviews. Right. We've added video sections. We're trying to make the Agent Profiler extremely robust, so you, the client, almost feel like you know who the advisor is going to be. And then they choose the advisor, and our lead generation is really expanding. We're probably going to be approaching, well, the goal for 2023 is well north of 200,000 leads. And our closing percentages are in excess of 25%, which if you think about a blind lead, this is someone you have never talked to before, never dealt with your business before, and you're closing that. And we hear stories of around the world cruises, and I mean, it's incredible what we're selling through.
Closing, and also you have about 9,000 travel advisors on Agent Profile, and you have some in there in this sort of super agent category that have much more extensive profiles, and they are getting the leads, right?
They are, the more robust you make your profile, the higher you come in the search.
That's great.
And we also, it's part of the magic behind the scenes. And now you're going to have to talk to the pros on this, but how the algorithms work and all that, I'm not sure we'd tell you anyway, but I mean, we've been working on this for close to 10 years now, how to perfect it. And if you were to do a Google search for almost any type of activity in travel, almost anywhere in the country, Travel Leaders is going to come up in the top 2 or 3.
I did that experiment a few years ago, and it is absolutely true. Yes. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about was something we mentioned earlier. Is I know you want to talk about this. Is this new alliance program? So you have. First of all, tell us a little bit about what it is and what are the different alliances you have.
Well, first of all, because of our size, we have experts in every facet of the travel industry, whether it's corporate, leisure, honeymoon, luxury. It doesn't matter. So one of the things we wanted to do is get all of the people who are specialists in whatever it is, whether it's advisors and or owners, to be able to share ideas. Because one of the things we really are so proud of is the collaborative nature of all of our members. So the first 2 we launched, one was for advisors, and it's the agents who are luxury sellers. Okay. And so Saturday, the first day of the meeting, we had an all-day session with many of our luxury advisors, and we had one-on-one with our luxury suppliers. We also had roundtables sharing best practices, how to attract more luxury clients, how to service them, those things. And it's just a total sharing, but it's a group of people who have common expertise, all trying to help each other become better. Yeah. The second one was based on the owners, and it's host agencies. And it was very interesting because I sat through a lot of that one. Here's almost 50 competitors, and we have some huge host agencies.
No, I know. And you have probably more host agencies than almost any other consortium and agency network.
Yes, we do. And we have numerous programs for them. But this was, we don't get down into the competitive things, but there's so many things that aren't competitive. For example, we all have to follow all the Treasury rules. So make sure everyone knows that. But then you start getting into issues, for example, so you have all of these independent contractors. You can't require that they attend training, but how can you encourage them to attend training, whether it's training on suppliers, training on sales techniques, training on internal operation procedures. And again, they met all day and shared ideas, discussed topics. We had a travel lawyer in to talk about the latest, greatest, and what's happening with independent contractor law, both on a state level and a country. And so we're going to announce tomorrow 3 more alliances. Okay. The first one, as I mentioned earlier, that we had a specialty program on honeymoon and destination weddings. But we have hundreds of advisors who are specialized in that. But we want to form an alliance around that to where they can get together, share ideas. What are different add-ons they can do? How do you create a better wedding and experience? How do you create a better honeymoon experience for the client? How do you get people to, for example, everyone in the wedding to book through you?
Okay.
I mean, think about all the opportunities. So if people can share those ideas, that's great. Second one is going to be focused on owners, and it's those agencies that are really first adopters of technology. And one of the things that was funny, a few years ago, I was talking to a couple of owners about a mid-office product for corporate. Mm-hmm. And one guy said, it's the best thing in the world. And the other guy said, I tried it and it doesn't work. Turns out one was Sabre, one was WorldSpan, and the program really works with one of them, doesn't with the other.
Okay,
so it's that kind of thing. So both on the leisure and the corporate side, there's just new technology products being delivered on a daily basis. We have a number of first adopters who are trying all types of technology. Mm. And it's not just mid-office. It could be productivity. It could be booking tools. It could be communications tools. It could be anything. And then we want to get them in a room on a regular basis, talk about which products they're using, which works, and then we're going to share that with the whole network. So everyone will be able to take advantage of those learnings. Yeah. And then the third one is also for owners. We have a number of agencies that are in the mid-size range, but they really want to grow. But how do they grow? And so it's again, a collaborative nature, sharing ideas. This worked, this didn't work. Okay. That's just as important as knowing what did work. Don't waste your time doing this. So again, it's about how to grow, and you start thinking about, okay, mid-sized agencies, a lot of them are owned by husband and wife. How do you two work together? How do you divide the duties and responsibilities without creating a divorce? You know?
I get that one.
Yes. So no, I mean, so you think about all those issues of how do you get from that mid-sized agency to wherever that next step is you want to be. So those are going to be our 3 new alliances, and we're very thrilled to be able to get these people together to talk, to share, to build bonds, to build trust, and just further the relationship with Travel Leaders Network.
Sounds great. Now, Roger, I want to thank you for taking the time. Is there anything else you want to get out to our viewers about Travel Leaders Network today and what's going on?
The only thing I want to just state is, you know, if you've been with a group or if you're not with another group, I think you owe it to yourself to see what the new Travel Leaders Network is all about. We really have programs that are world-class that could help any travel agency, whether you're an advisor or an owner, grow your business and make more money.
Absolutely, and that's the key. Roger, again, thank you for hosting me down here. Again, once again, it feels like we were just together, which we were.
6 months ago.
And then next week we'll be together again. Next week,
yes.
It's another story. Again, it's been a great conference. Great to be back here. Larger conference all the time. And I want to thank you. It's great to hear what's going on with Travel Leaders Network.
Thanks, James. Always a pleasure.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.